Good afternoon, everyone. So the chapter which we were learning last few days, we will continue that. Fine. Direct and indirect speech. We were learning how the direct speech sentences are converted into indirect speech. So again, I am just making a background, making a ground for the chapter that we are learning today. That what kind of sentences will be called direct speech sentences and what kind of sentences will be called indirect speech sentences. The sentences that contains the actual word of the speaker and are written within the inverted commas, that will be called direct speech sentences. If we are talking about the indirect speech sentences, then the actual words of the speaker are converted to our convenience when and we mold the words according to us, then it becomes the indirect speech sentence. So when we are transforming the direct speech sentences into indirect speech sentences, actually when we transform the direct speech sentences into indirect speech sentences, then three kinds of changes take place, and we should keep in mind that what kind of changes, which rules are followed while changing these sentences, while these changes are done. First kind of change is pronouns change, that we have discussed already. Change of pronouns. Change of pronouns. Second kind of change, that is change of tenses. Third kind of change, that is time and place change. We have discussed already all these three kinds of changes we have discussed in our previous classes. Fine. Right now we have discussed all these three changes in the when we are transforming the assertive or declarative sentences into indirect speech. Today we are discussing how interrogative sentences are changed into indirect speech sentences. See, already I told you so many times, as I am telling, I said to you, comma, inverted comma, he is a good boy. As we are having this sentence for an example. Fine. So this part of sentence will be called reporting verb. I told you in the first or second class, this part of the sentence will be called reporting verb, and this part of sentence will be called reported speech. Reported speech. So the all changes which we have discussed already. The changes which we have discussed in the previous classes means change of pronouns, change of tenses, change of time and place. That all changes are done in this part only, means in reported speech. And when these changes are done, when our reporting verb is in past tense, when this reporting verb is in present tense or future tense, these changes means changes of tenses doesn't take place. Changes of pronouns and time and expression will be followed, but changes of tenses will not be done. Right now, as I told you, that we will in today's class we will discuss that how interrogative sentences are changed into indirect speech. Fine. As like this sentence is a direct speech sentence, how can we say that this is the direct speech sentence? How can we say? as it is containing the actual words of the speaker, and the actual words of the speaker are written within the inverted commas. That's why it will be called direct speech sentence. Indirect speech. What kind of sentence is called indirect speech sentence? As I told you that, comma, inverted comma will be removed. I told you that he is third person pronoun. Third person pronoun, according to the rules of change of pronouns, third person pronoun doesn't change. So he will be he'll. He is changed into was. He was a good boy. This sentence, when we are changing it into indirect speech, it will be changed like that. Now we are talking about the, as I told you that we are talking about the interrogative sentences, and this in the interrogative sentences only reported verb will be there in interrogative sentence. Fine. We are taking example for them also. I said to you, comma, inverted comma, same we are taking, is he a good boy? Is he a good boy? Fine. Means we are asking a question in reported speech. First you just concentrate, first you should understand that in English we are having two kinds of question sentences. Fine. First kind of question sentences are called WH questions. WH questions means what kind of sentences are called WH questions? As like the questions which are starting with WH word, as like where, as like what, as like when, as like how. So this kind of sentences, the words or the question mark sentences, the question that is starting with WH word, that kind of sentences will be called, that kind of questions will be called WH questions. But some sentences are like that, means in this kind of sentences, when we are having any WH question, when we ask any WH question, the answer is always given an information में आंसर दिया जाता है. But if we are asking the remaining kind of question, as like is he a good boy, these are called auxiliary based question. Auxiliary based questions. Auxiliary. What is auxiliary? Helping verbs are called auxiliary. Fine. So the questions which are starting with auxiliary helping verb, the questions which are starting with any helping verb, that kind of questions will be called auxiliary based questions. Fine. Here this question is starting with is. It can be start with is, it can be start with am, it can be start with are, it can be start with was, were, has, have. Means that kind of sentences. When a question is starting with any helping verb, when a question is starting with any auxiliary verb, then it will be called auxiliary based question. And both kind of sentences, both kind of reported speech is changed differently. When we are having auxiliary based question, then it will be changed according to some another rules. When we are having WH words, WH questions, then it will be changed according to some other rules. So we are going to learn one by one. First we are taking auxiliary based questions. So just a minute. One more thing should be kept in mind, that when we change the direct speech sentence of any question mark, when we are changing any interrogative direct speech sentence into indirect speech, we have to make it in a declarative sentence. We have to change it in a declarative sentence. how it can be? See, if this is a sentence, this is an interrogative sentence. How can we say? Because is and he जो है, अगर ये he is होता, if it becomes he is a good boy, it will become a declarative sentence. But here we are having is he, means it has become a question. But when a direct speech interrogative sentence will be changed into indirect speech, we have to change it in a declarative sentence according to the grammar rules. Fine. It means we have to concentrate on the subject and verb also. Subject will be brought earlier and verb will be brought after that. Fine. So we are changing now. See, one more thing. Said to is changed into asked in question mark sentences. I asked you. Fine. I asked you. Now, the question mark sentence which is started with any auxiliary verb, in that kind of sentences, at the place of inverted commas, we will use if. Not that. We were using that in declarative sentences. But in auxiliary, when we are having any interrogative sentence, and that interrogative sentence is starting with an auxiliary, then this connecting word will be if. Means the conjunction which we are using to connect both the parts of the sentence, that will be if. We will not use any that here in interrogative sentences. Fine. So I asked you, if is he को हमें change करना है, इनके places change करना है. Why? Because we want to make it a declarative sentence. अगर हम ऐसे के ऐसे चेंज करेंगे तो वो डिक्लेरेटिव नहीं बनेगा, वो फिर भी इंटरोगेटिव ही रहेगा. That's why we are changing its place and we are bringing he here, and is always changed into was. He was a good boy. This is the way how we change interrogative sentence that is starting with any auxiliary verb. Fine. This is the way how we change the auxiliary verb interrogative sentences, that is of direct speech, will be changed into indirect speech. So I think that this is clear to you. We will take some more examples. Some another questions we are taking. Neha said to Nishi, comma, inverted comma, are you going to market? Question mark, comma, close. Now we will change this into indirect speech sentence. See, Neha, in interrogative sentences, said to is changed into asked. So we are writing asked. Neha asked Nishi. Now, comma, inverted comma will be changed or will be replaced with if. Neha asked Nishi if. Now you. Are you. Are you को हमें you are में change करना है. And you is second person pronoun. Second person pronoun is always changed according to object. Object is a girl here. Nishi is a girl. So we will use she. And are, because it is a is and are is always changed into was verb. With she we will use was. She was going to Mark it. Have you got it or not? Hanji? Yes. Another question? Another example we are taking. The father said to son, comma, inverted comma, will you come with me? This is the direct speech sentence. Now we are changing it into indirect speech. The father said to will be changed as it is again a question mark sentence. So said to will be changed into asked. The father asked son if comma inverted comma will be replaced with if. Fine. Now will you is a question mark pattern. If we want to make it a simple sentence, then it will become you will. So you is second person pronoun. So what we were talking, the father asked the son and said to is changed into asked in interrogative sentences. If we are using at the place of inverted commas, you is second person pronoun. Second person pronoun is changed according to the object, and son is the object here. So we will change it in he. Will be changed into would. If he would come with me. Me is first person pronoun. Me is first person pronoun. First person pronoun changes according to the subject, and subject is also a male person. So we will change it into him. Suppose यहाँ पर father की जगह mother होता. The mother said to son. The mother said to son, will you come with me? Then it will become the mother asked son if he would come with her. At the place of him we will use her. So this was all about the pattern of interrogative sentences and the interrogative sentences that are starting with auxiliary verb. Fine. So this was all about today's class. We will continue the topic tomorrow. Bye bye all of you.